Good morning. Yes, it's Saturday morning. Time for the weekend.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to be full of beans, but I'm actually quite exhausted, actually, because it's been a busy week.
It was a big night last night. That curry was fantastic.
We've reached the end of the Dark Angels week, but by no means reached the end of Dark Angels. You get burnt on that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really hot.
So we've no means reached the end of Dark Angels. What have we got to catch up on? Well, first things first. Many of you might have noticed that we were having technical issues during the last week's video. So not right, Justin?
Yes, that one's my bad. That is my bad.
No, it sounded went a bit skewy. We are changing equipment and stuff like that at the moment, guys. So please bear with us as we things up. So
again, I have to bleep this.
So yeah, we have sound issues, but we spent Wednesday deep in the editing suites, adjusting all sound, coming up with brand new processes for working sound. So sound should be crystal clear and beautifully normalized.
Yeah, well, the largest sound you would have heard from the editing suite would have been his hand against the back of my head.
Why does that sound like that? You're deafening people in the right ear. Anyway, so sound issues have been addressed. Other than that, Daryl and Andy are now away again. I'm cleansing myself of all things cheese. I'm trying to...
You're trying to get back to your happy little narrative place.
Yes, yes. It is hard work. I've got to admit, it is hard work.
It'll be all.
It's cheese is cheese. It's as you'll have no doubt have seen if you're a watcher. We have been dissecting the Dark Angels book. Did I lay into it? Yes, I laid into it a little bit, but I'm going to take an opportunity to, well, not really redeem myself.
Release the demon.
But yes,
Release it.
Right. I was really, really, really looking forward to this release. Then I saw the models. I looked forward to it a little bit less, but only a little bit less because there was still plenty that I could do with the models. The flyer. I like the flyer without all the Dark Angels accoutrements.
without the shrine stuffed onto the back.
Yes. I wasn't a big fan, but I loved the flyer as it was, and I thought that this is going to be great. The land speeder. Wasn't such a fan with the whole pulpit thing, and I know we joked about candles and stuff like that, but it felt like a flying church. I know that's what they set out to do. It just didn't sit well with me. However, I really was looking forward to it. I was really looking forward to the Codex. For professional reasons, Space Marine themed weeks are always really good fun. And I look forward to Space Marine releases on BC4 because we get to do the big themed week. We get to
No. You look forward to the innuendo.
Okay, a little bit like that. I look forward to reading the Fluff helmets.
Yeah. I'm still shocked, though, that you didn't take the opportunity to have a little man pop up with holding a helmet in one hand.
You see, we left Sam back in Ireland, so we couldn't.
Yeah. And do you know what I've just realised? This man has spoken. We didn't introduce anybody. How far into this video are we? Of course, I'm Warren. I'm joined by Justin, the Bald Eagle. I'm also joined by Stu, Master of Ceremonies. And finally, our special, very special guest is Brian. This whole show is the life of Brian.
This is the reason I'm here. I've come down here for the chicks and the beer.
Yeah. Chicks and the beer.
Chicks and the beer and some dice rolling.
You're going to be disappointed.
But this is Brian, better known as Templar Crusade 01, one of my favourite YouTubers.
Oh, I'll put the check in the post.
Bless you.
That was really nice, wasn't it? Yeah. Thank you very much. It's really nice to be here. And we had a fantastic night last night, and I'm a bit worse for wear because the curry was fantastic, and a few beers here and there didn't go amiss as well.
Nothing wrong with beer curry, is there?
Hockley curry. If you've not had a curry in Hockley, you've not lived. Yeah.
So my apologies. That was very remiss of me not to introduce the people who were on the crew today. But yes, Brian, we did miss the opportunity to have a to get our helmets out on camera.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I watched the entire length of the video. I didn't fast forward it once.
Why do I come in week after week after week to hear this stuff?
Anyway, so it went there. I was looking forward to the Codex, right? I really was looking forward to it. Like I said, for professional reasons, I love seeing the themed weeks. I haven't been involved in a theme week in a while. I was really looking forward to this, getting back into it. Daryl and Andy were their usual selves. You know, they obviously picked holes and stuff in it, but they picked holes and things I don't care either way. I'm not so much worried about the cheesy thing. What I was looking for and what I really like to see is the fun, the exciting bits in the Codex. You know, it's we didn't get a lot of flack, but you know, a lot of people were saying, "Why are you complaining? This is a really balanced Codex." That sounds like a more horrendous insult than anything I could have said about it. You know, surely a Codex's redeeming value shouldn't be that it was balanced. You know, it's hardly. You know, would you not rather 10 times out of 10 say it looks like so much fun? Yeah, have we really got to that stage in the hobby now where we're celebrating the balancedness of a Codex?
I don't know. Every time an overpowered Codex comes out, the internet goes nuts. You know, they'll start screaming about a Matt Ward abomination or whatever. But
Matt Ward is the best thing that's happened to Games Workshop since the worst thing that's happened to Games Workshop.
He's the one with the beard, isn't he?
He's the one that looks like me.
Yeah,
I'll bring the image up again.
I've got to say, that image is fantastic. I don't know which way is it going to be, there or there?
No, the covering is right now.
I'm going to say, because I love that one. I think that was one of the best plays ever. But no, I like his work. I think he's brought the 40k system to made it something very, very special. I don't know what input he had on the NIDs. Not too sure. Everybody said they were overpowered. Everybody said the Space Wolves were overpowered. But actually, to be fair, they're great armies to play.
But you know the thing, I'm going to let you guys into a secret here, right?
You know, what kind of secret?
Right. Look, you know, as Beasts of War, we can sit here and do all the analysis, and any of you guys can talk about overpowered this, overpowered that. It doesn't mean anything, because it all depends on who's playing the army. It doesn't matter. Like what percentage of your games are actually in a tournament? No. You know, so it's for me the important thing is I'm always looking for something that will make my army different from your army, for example. So for
yours
NIDS,
will be painted. Yeah.
Well, no, it wouldn't.
Paint your armies.
But for me, NIDS is still my favourite army. Now, when NIDS came out, we didn't think it was that overpowered. You know, a lot of people at the time thought it was. We didn't think it was that overpowered. However, I remember Nidweek. It's probably one of my favourite memories since we started this whole project. Was whenever we came up and we thought, well, Discovery Channel do Shark Week. We're going to do Nidweek. And we put out 30, 40 videos that week. But back then, the Nid decks, the models are epic. There's nothing more epic on a table than seeing a well-done Tyranid army. Yeah. You know, there were some interesting rules like the Trigons and stuff like that there. The Mycetic Spores and stuff. It was brimming with flavour. Space Wolves wasn't involved in the Space Wolves stuff, but yeah, there was a lot of flavour in it. Yes, some of it might have felt unfair at the time, like Jaws of the World Wolf and stuff like that. But it's not like everybody was able to shoot it.
No, it is still unfair now.
Yeah, well okay.
Well, it hasn't changed. Space Wolves do get 4 HQ slots.
Yeah, but you know, it feels like that army. You know about it when you're up against it. You know, it's you had the Marines, you've had Grey Knights again. There were some interesting rules in that. By far my favourite was Blood Angels. Primarily because I laughed my balls off at that video. I wasn't laughing at the chapter because I just was laughing because it was so much fun. It was camp, but it was fun. The Codex itself was so much fun, and you had them experimenting with rules like the Blood Talons, which kind of like had exploding successes where as it was killing, it just kept killing. Yeah. That to me, it was very, very special. Yeah, you had Sanguinor, you had Mephiston. Yeah, we laughed at Sanguinor giving his blessing to any man within 6 inches. Yeah. But then...
oh, here he goes again. We'll not finish this video today, guys.
It's a very worrying thing.
Well, you know, I bless you. Yeah. But So I had high hopes of the Dark Angels. My concern with it is, let's be honest, I'm not having a go at the chapter. My first Marine army was Dark Angels. I have a real soft spot for Deathwing. I don't think that there's a better thing that you could field than Deathwing. I think it's the perfect canvas for an army because there's so much detail in Terminators. I just think it looks
they do
stunning.
look beautiful.
Yeah, and then with the new Terminator boxes even more because they have done an absolutely beautiful job with those minis.
So I'm not having a go at the chapter. I have a lot of love for that chapter, and there were some good things in there, like 10-man Terminator squads. Fantastic! I can now get 100 Terminators onto the field. But I did feel let down. I felt personally let down by the fact that I was looking for things like the Blood Talons. There were moments where they bigged up these weapons that will stop time. And then, how did you realize that on the tabletop? Well, +1 weapon skill. It felt like it was...
Or -3 weapon skill. You're on about the stasis bomb.
Yeah, well, do you know what I mean? I'm talking about a sword.
I know the one you're on about.
It felt as if somebody had their hands tied during the development of it. It felt as if somebody was told, there's your framework, don't mess with that framework. You're only allowed to flick switches. You're only allowed to flick things up and down. That's it. That's all you can do. And it felt like it could have been so much more. It could have had, obviously the big things about Dark Angels is they could field an all Terminator army or an all biker army. But to be fair, it was able to do that before. I was looking for. I didn't care. I do not care about anything being overpowered or underpowered or anything like that. I just wanted it to be different.
Because they've gone for a whole medieval fluff, haven't they, with it? And what I used to love about the old Deathwing Terminators is it had that Native American. I don't even remember the Space Hulk stuff. Two heads talking.
Yep. Weasel Fierce.
Yeah, and it had that beautiful story where these Terminators go back to their home planet, and it's all like a Native American Indian thing, and they took that away.
Yeah.
And that's what lost it for me. When you think Deathwing, you think American Indians. You think riding the horses across the plain and stuff like that. You know, the ghost dancers and stuff, and it just seems that they create this beautiful fluff and then take it away and replace it with something else.
Yeah, I think for me, I was also disappointed with the Dark Angel book. Again, from a background point of view, mainly because the issue I've had with Dark Angels, I really liked when Dark Angels first got their character back in Angels of Death. Really, really great codex when they paired them up with the Blood Angels, and it was like really showed them. It said, okay, well, you've got Space Marines, and these are the differences between these two particular chapters compared to your Ultramarines. But the Dark Angels, out of all the other chapters, I think the Dark Angels had quite a confused sense of what they are. And as successive people have come down and added bits and tried to tie things in, I was getting definitely a vibe they were trying to make it more true and more cohesive to the kind of the Horus Heresy stuff and trying to tie that back into the story in Caliban and things like that. That was great. I enjoyed that. And there was, to an extent, that was happening with the Chaos Space Marine Codex as well, kind of trying to draw back and show where they came from. It's a sense of scale or history. So I like that. But from a game point of view, I think you're absolutely right. You've got physical reminders. So all the hair, all the feathers, all the plumes and things like that. That clearly is coming from the Deathwing. I think it was Bill King. I think wrote Deathwing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Comes back from that story and that whole Native American vibe and the broken dagger that they should have by and all that kind of stuff. So that's still there on the models, but the background, the reason for it is massively disconnected. That story is now, I think that they talk about that being almost like a parable or it's an allegory to the fallen and betrayal and things like that. And it's like, well, but it's not. It's about gene stealers and Native Americans running around.
What more can you have? What more do you need in a story?
It seems strange. And the bits that seem to have been added to the Codex, I think, and I refer back to my previous comments when I talked about I have real fears for Black Templars going forward. I think a lot of the knightly, crusading, relic, that kind of aspect of it, seems to be quite heavily borrowed from your kind of the same wellspring that Bretonians and Black Templars would borrow from. So if that's now being quite largely taken into the Dark Angel book, I'm starting to struggle. Either they're going to have to go into a massively new way for the Black Templars, or else, as I suspect, they'll give them some kind of White Dwarf list and then they'll fold them into the Space Marine Codex.
Oh, I really hope. Black Templars are my first love. And I've got to say, in a manly way, They were my first love, and I've got to say I really enjoyed them as an army. They were fantastic. You get them on the table, yeah, okay. You know, you could actually have an army there that could actually, you know, rush in and actually take out a lot of stuff. And plus you could play around, like, I mean, you just recently did the big cheese with Black Templars and Tech Marines.
Yeah, Tech Marines.
Yeah, fantastic.
Beautiful. Loved it.
You
Loved
know,
it.
and the thing is, the Black Templars are this, you know, crusading army. It leads on from the leads on from the Horus Heresy, where, you know, they're given the task of
Sigismund.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
Off you go into the universe and kill the heretics, basically. You know, burn the witch. And if they take that away and turn it into a vanilla, fluff-based White Dwarf army that you'll never see as their own book, I think it'll destroy them.
Well, I don't see. I mean, if we just break it without making this like sidetracking it into a whole thing about Black Templars, but you know, it's the weekend, I don't care.
And plus, we had a late night.
If you look at Black Templars now, what do Black Templars? I mean, Swampy's thing that he gave on the Cheese Hunters is a perfect example. Uber-powered Tech Marines is not what I would consider a signature of Black Templars. If you look at the background for them, it's a signature of a very, very old book that
in the modern age
is massively disconnected. So you look back at Black Templars. So okay, they've got their whole lots of scouts and scouts doing well. Possibly the mixed squads really is the only thing, because they've lost the Crusader. Everybody can have Crusaders.
Yep.
A lot of the flamey, burny, get in there, kind of leaping forward kind of stuff. Either the Blood Angels have had it, or it's been, you know, most of the other chapters can do something like that. The Dark Angels have got a lot of the kind of the relics and the I mean those the Deathwing Knights. I mean, they would have made them. You know, that look, that style would have been amazing for some kind of like Sword Brethren kind of style thing. I mean, can you imagine rather than Watchers in the Dark or something like that? If you had like neophytes running alongside Terminators, so these huge guys with these like maces, and again that whole mace symbol and things. It seems to be. I look at the Black Templars now and I think, well, mixed squads. The Emperor's champion in whatever form he's going to take. What else are they going to have? So they don't have librarians. Well, White Scars didn't used to have dreadnoughts, but they seem to magically gain them back. So we'll wait and see.
This is what I talk about. I'm going to hijack this now. This is what I talk about is destroying fluff-based stuff. And I've got a good friend of mine, and we've constantly gone on about this. And he plays White Scars pre-heresy. You know, it sticks to it religiously, basically. No dreadnoughts whatsoever. Very fast-moving army. You know, it's the Great Khan sort of thing. But he's also building an army that he can play 40k with. And now they're introducing dreads back into it. It totally kills the fluff that they're creating. It's almost as though they're going back on themselves and taking away what is good and what is natural and exciting about their games.
Of course, the flip side of this is you have to give it room to breathe. You have to give it room to evolve. But it's about giving things a unique perspective, a unique direction, and that's where I've had the problem with Dark Angels this time. You know, rules. It didn't feel that unique to me. It didn't.
But Dark Angels have always suffered from that because the previous Dark Angel Codex predated the. In fact, I think we've had 2 Space Marine Codexes since.
Yes.
And it predated the first of those. And if you the one with Calgar and like the big pile of Ultramarines rather than the single Ultramarine with the bolter. And so you look at that and you think the one that had the what do they call them? You had the flaws, merits and flaws, merits and flaws system for Space Marines. So it predates that version of the Space Marine Codex. And you look at how inflexible the previous Dark Angel Codex is. So actually, a lot of the things that we've gained in the new Dark Angel Codex, I think we take for granted because if you actually just took the 2 books into isolation from any other codex and you looked at them, you would clearly say that the new book is a massive improvement over the previous Dark Angel book. But you don't. You take the new book and you compare it to Blood Angel.
This is the other thing. We a couple of comments that came up, and I do read the comments actually. One comment was,
you read mine.
You're being I read yours. All right. Sorry, we'll get a couple more knob jokes in this. But the one comment was that whenever we're doing the codex breakdowns, that we're just taking units in isolation of another. We're not entirely doing that, but I understand where you're coming from. And he said that if we mixed the units together, we would find more fun. There is a difficulty with that, right? Firstly is, yes, I understand exactly where you're coming from, that units in isolation is a difficult one because there's an army there. But from the day we started this whole Beast of War thing and did these Codex announcements and breakdowns and stuff, we've had people posting, yeah, but you're wrong, because all you have to do is deep strike this there, deep strike that there, deep strike this here, and that all comes together, and then this happens. And then you say, yeah, but what if a deep strike fails and you lose that unit? And how many times have you went in to play a game of 40k, and you've had this grand battle plan in your head, and it never pans out?
No,
you know, a unit will always end up. You see, so why we look at units doing what a unit can do, is because a lot of the time on the tabletop, the unit ends up sitting there having to do what it has to do.
Yeah, it has to stand alone instead of being mixed in with the grand
while
strategy.
I completely agree, you know, if you expect us to take every unit and start pairing it with every other unit to see what it might be able to do, I know I was taking it a bit on the other side of the spectrum. We'd never finish Dark Angels Week, but a lot of the time a unit just comes down to doing what it does. You know, again, we're talking about the HQ choices being expensive and a bit bland. You know, and people saying, well, of course, if you put this guy up against that guy, but he's there to do this. But you know, again, you're doing an analysis of what the guy does, and if his main purpose, as with Belial, is to allow you to take all Terminators, will we recognise that he's there to take all Terminators? But the build your own librarian was better than the named librarian. There was just no doubt about that.
But that suffers a lot, though, in some of the codexes where you find that a build your own librarian. I think that's fantastic. Build your own librarian. It's almost like build your own teddy bear.
Yeah.
But it's
build
like
a librarian.
Yeah, build a librarian. I'll just put these in there,
and I'll stuff him.
Yeah, exactly. And the kids, if you're watching that, he's talking about Christmas turkeys.
Yes.
Right. So, the thing is that no, you've lost my.
You've lost it. Okay.
Well done.
But
well done.
no. What I'm saying is, but you find that a lot that in a lot of these codexes, that the build alone character is much harder, isn't it, than the actual main character you should be playing.
Yeah.
You know, and fielding. I mean, I can build in the Black Templars book. You'll have a character in there, and you'll go, do you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to build my own. I forgot what they're called now.
Marshals.
That's it. Yeah. And so you build your own marshal, and it's much harder than Hellbrick.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like with any, you can design a character killer just by creating your own characters.
Yeah, but you see, the other side of that is, whenever you're taking a character that's been pre-built, named and all, they've built him to do a job, and if you perhaps don't know what that job is, you go and build your own guy, and you know exactly what you want them to do as you're building him.
That's another point in this, is remember, guys, whenever you're watching these themed weeks, if you've spotted mistakes, by all means, post them. We want to hear them. But bear one thing in mind. We get people post, even now, on some of the past themed weeks, but on this themed week, it's now been a couple of weeks that the thing is out, and you've picked up a mistake or something, you're going, remember, you've had 2 weeks to find that. Filming starts on a themed week now, basically 24 hours after the Codex arrives with us. So
that'll be on a GW themed week, though.
Yeah. It's only on GW themed weeks for obvious reasons.
Yeah, indeed.
But it's so, you know, filming on that can only, you know, basically it has to start straight away for us to do something that still has some kind of meaningfulness in terms of the launch window.
Sensitive.
Yeah. So
Menoth week is going to be awesome when we do Menoth week.
Yeah, well, because we have the time. Yeah, and we can, and it seems for every other game company out there, they're quite willing for us to get stuff in advance. But we've just made a rod to break our own back with there. No excuses for mistakes. But on these GW themed weeks, you know, we don't get the stuff before anybody else. We have 24 hours from the point of doing that to start the filming.
Because you want to get the stuff out to the people.
We have a launch window. You know, if we left it 6 weeks until we were absolutely sure and had play tested everything in it, would the content be more accurate? Yes. Would it be that much more accurate?
Well,
that's hard to say.
Be out as well.
It's hard to say. You know, it's
you leave it a day and the errata will come out. But do you not think though? And obviously I might be alone in this view, but I just see the videos that you guys produce for Beasts of War, and actually Brian's stuff as well. they're conversation starters. They're not supposed to be the entire conversation encapsulated. It's supposed to be, but like this, we're chewing the cud, and there's going to be loads of stuff we just said now.
We'll throw out an opinion, and everybody who's watching it is just going to drop a comment below and throw in their 2 cents.
Well, this is it. We maybe don't say it clearly enough in the videos anymore, but we always used to say this, that a video on BC4, Templars Crusade, any of these places, for me, it's always been about that is only half the product, half the content. The other half is in the comments. So never take the video out in isolation of the description and of the comments, more importantly, because it was the comments for me that were always the important thing. It was the discussion that it led to. We have... if you're a youngster and you're just getting into the game, let me let you into a secret. Nobody's opinion in this entire industry matters more than mine.
That's very bold.
Well played.
Think about it for a second, and let me put it like this: to me, nobody else's opinion in this entire industry matters more than mine. I'd like you to have the same opinion of yourself.
I see what you're driving at.
So what you mean is their opinion is the only opinion that matters.
No,
should
my
matter
opinion.
to them.
No,
To
to them.
them.
Well, that's up to them, but
exactly,
to me.
Oh, I thought you were going to come out with some like Buddhist,
People
like,
yeah.
you know.
I was waiting for the Zen.
I was-
You've nailed it.
I was waiting for Zen.
To
and I
them,
got-
is the
it's
self-aggrandizing.
what they think that matters to them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what you think doesn't necessarily matter to me. What I think matters to me, what you think matters to you. So hold by that. These are conversation starters.
But what if they think that you think that they think that your opinion is more important
Whoa.
This is generally why I don't try to think.
Hold on, what happens
I'm
if I
happier.
think what they think that you think that he thought, that you thought that they didn't think?
Well, you see, that does happen from time to time.
My head hurts now.
Anyway,
and I was actually
too early in the morning.
I know, I was actually going to say I was waiting for some Zen logic to come out, but you sounded like my granddad.
So it's been an interesting week.
Yeah.
It's been a week where for me, I wasn't bitterly disappointed, but I do feel like it was a Codex. I wasn't having a go at the army
Or the Legion.
Because
the Legion is still one of my favourites.
Oh yeah, and one of mine. I just, however, if I could sum it up in a nutshell, I suspect that whoever wrote that book and whoever was involved in that book had their hands tied from the start. It didn't feel like a book to me where they had the ability to do something new, interesting, or test something. And if they did, it feels to me like it didn't make it into the book. The fact that the book was errated within 3 days.
And the fact that it had spelling mistakes.
The fact that it had spell mistakes like, this unit is composed of the following. These are spell mistakes that would have been picked up in Word with a little red line.
That's high Gothic. You're getting that confused.
There's the other thing.
Don't you know anything?
I did have a go at the language that was used in the book, and give me 2 seconds to explain that as well, because I talked about how they write this stuff out, they then just go through it with a thesaurus and try and change every other word into some big long-winded word. And I talked about how, if a child grows up on this, if they talk like this, they just end up bullied at school. And one of the comments...
Non-English speakers, it must be really hard.
Well, no, it's not about that. It's about one of the comments on YouTube was priceless. He said, so you think it's your children will be bullied for knowing big words? No, that's not what
my children will be.
Don't you speak to me like that. It was purely about it's a puerile attempt at making the text seem more epic than it is.
Like a student newspaper, when you're reading, it's all really big words. They use like these huge long words when they could have just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's the difference, and here's what I'll go and pick up the Horus Heresy, right, and read it. It's an epic story. It is superb, and once you get into it, it does take a couple of chapters to get into it, but once you get into it, you cannot pull yourself out of it. You become enthralled in it.
Right,
okay?
so you're saying start from the beginning of the series, because there's quite a few now.
Yeah, pick up the first
Dan
one.
Abnett's one.
Yeah, Horus Rising. Pick it up. It's superb. Now, the difficulty I have with the Codex is every time it's forced language. Okay, so it's throwing words in for the word's sake rather than for the actual story's sake. So whereas the novels are beautifully written and absorb you into it, reading the Codex, you constantly get jolted out of the text. You know, you don't get to absorb your way into it. So I feel that it's not tested. I don't think. I'm wondering if they're doing any play testing, or are you play testing in your spare time or something?
Or if they're just play testing the army against itself.
I don't know. It didn't feel like somebody was given the opportunity. So, you know, I'm not having a go at that. I'm not having a go at the writers either. You know, they do what they can do. Just something doesn't sit right with me in this, and I think that their hands have been tied. I also think from the point of view of the book coming out with such noticeable errors,
it was a bit rushed.
What is going on there? You know, how was that not picked up? I know that they're printed. Well, maybe these are printed and slow-boated in from China, but you know, where's the quality control there? You know, yeah, it can be fixed later, but did it really need to be fixed later? The changes in the errata, they weren't.
They're not minor.
They didn't seem necessary. They should have been caught earlier. You know, it's only 50 pages of rules. It's not the hardest. I don't see it as an impossible task. Like video gaming, which you well know. You might have 10 million lines of code, maybe 50 million lines of code in there. Yeah. You can understand the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours going into testing that.
Yeah, we pretty much, the company that I work for, basically test games till they're destroyed.
Yeah.
Basically, and that's what you have to do. And nothing leaves, you know, without it being perfect. And if it is, it's a downloadable patch that you can fix it with.
Well, the medium suits that.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this instance, we're talking about 50 pages of rules, if even.
And the last thing you don't want to do is print out something and slot it into your book.
Yeah, because it doesn't look nice anymore.
No. Well, after spending 30, 40 quid on a book.
Yeah.
Well, for the record, I love Games Workshop. I've spent a lot of time within the company, and I have a great deal of respect for the people in it. And in all my time dealing with Games Workshop, the thing that has always stuck with me is they are a company of really high standards, almost impossibly high standards. Yeah, they pride themselves on being the gold standard, the best possible models, the finest models that you could possibly get. They charge the price for it because it's the best you can possibly get.
Yeah.
In my mind, and if they had turned round and said, actually, we caught some mistakes in the Dark Angels book, it wasn't up to our standards, we pulped the whole lot, we've reprinted it, and it'll be a month later. So actually, we're going to bear in mind we don't know what the releases are until a couple of weeks out. So they could have very easily switched out, I don't know, whatever they've got waiting as a splash release for a couple of months' time or whatever. They could have just rotated those 2 months around. We could have a load of flyers or whatever else they're going to, or demons or whatever else they're going to surprise us later on in the year. We could have had that this month, and they could have done Dark Angels and swap the schedule.
Or they could have come out and said, look, we understand that this product was below our high standards. We're getting a new batch printed. Take yours back to your local GW store or your local hobby store, and they'll swap it out for you.
Well, we did that. Well,
Flames
we
of
did
War.
That. when the binding was bad in the codexes, because there was an issue where there was a load of the glue was quite poor. There was like a whole batch of codexes got printed, shipped over from Poland or wherever it was at the time, and the binding, and probably some of you guys and girls probably remember, and you would get your codex brand new, you turn it, literally pages. And the old Warriors of Chaos book and the Vampire Counts book in particular were bad for it. The pages would just literally just leaf straight out of it.
I remember my Space Marine Codex was bad for that as well.
Yeah.
We had a policy within the retail chain, and because standards are so high and because it's an excellent company, if your codex wasn't right because it wasn't built correctly, it wasn't produced correctly, you took it back, they gave you a brand new one.
And to be fair, and also, I'm going to jump on your bandwagon there. To be fair, if I've ever had a model from GW that's got parts missing, I can always take it back and they'll give me those parts, or they'll replace the box.
Absolutely.
You know, so they are a company of excellence, and they are. You know, but every now and then we just have something that appears that just isn't.
Disappointing.
I know.
But I'm just, you know, to give them their dues, when you set a high standard, when you fall below that standard, it makes it easy for people to pick.
Absolutely.
You know, but in
well, because people
in
look
this
to
instance, this is not the reason. If this was just a binding issue, if this was a production issue, you know, like a faulty cast or something like that, it wouldn't even have got a mention on Beasts of War. but to me, it felt, and it's only a hunch, it felt like there's something more fundamental going on here. There's a fundamental issue in terms of how this project, Dark Angels, was even approached. You know, it's that it led to a book that, from a rules mechanics point of view, felt quite bland in many respects. That there wasn't very much risk taken in it, and that errors that seemed quite silly were in there. It's a very strange thing. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist by trade.
Do you think they played it safe?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think somebody
feels like
played it
this
safe.
is an update of the old Codex instead of a brand new Codex.
Yeah.
Just dragging it into 6th edition.
Are we maybe missing the point? And this has literally just occurred to me. And for some of you, I'm sure this is like the first place you went to in your heads.
Probably.
I apologise, I'm only catching up with you now.
I don't know.
Is it that the 40k starter box set, Dark Vengeance, okay, Chaos Space Marines and Dark Angels, is it
that this has been pitched at beginners?
This is, because that's it. We're looking at it as grumpy old Wargamers, yeah?
Yeah, grumpy old Wargamers.
Whereas really,
See, I didn't get you to do it.
Yeah, okay. Whereas really, if we are who probably the start box is designed for, really, which is 12, 13-year-olds coming into the hobby, what is this Warhammer 40,000 stuff? And actually then, logically, if they've got one of these two forces in there, and their brother or their best mate's got the Chaos, they're doing the Dark Angels, and the Dark Angels book comes out, you probably don't want to have stuff in there that's going to be like, so, okay, these are the rules, now we're going to ignore a whole section of these rules and give you all these new rules. You do just want the core rules plus a little bit. And is that maybe where it's going?
I hope trying to say that they're dragging the old Power Creep back for 6th edition to sort of try and reset it?
No. What he's saying is
simplifying the
Dark
system.
Angels is the new starter army as pitched in the box. Let's create a codex that's very simple in its nature, so that new players that want to step up from the starter box pick up this codex. There's nothing in there that's going to surprise them. There's nothing in there that's going to confuse them.
Maybe.
But if that was the case, it should have been damn perfect from the start and not have to confuse them with bloody two-page erratas.
Oh, well, but to be fair, the Dark Vengeance book, I'm pretty sure, talks, in the quick play guide, it talks about taking a leadership test, and it talks about you needing to roll equal to or over the leadership value of a Space Marine rather than that's not.
But, you know, to be fair, though, is that then, look on the other side of this argument, where they've simplified it for the new people, but what about the people that are already playing? Yeah. You know, what are they doing there?
I see exactly where you're coming from, and I did see comments about this out there about that as well. But it's not good enough. You know, for me, some of the best starter armies out there are Necrons and Grey Knights. Right? Necrons, Grey Knights, both armies that are easy to paint and get a really nice finish on.
Yeah, but I think Grey Knights are a hard army to play, because as a beginning army, you've got psychic powers. Do you know what? I like the fact that I've always chosen armies.
Into it.
Yeah, but you say that, but the thing is...
So you need to do Dark Angels first?
Yeah, you know, but the thing is, I've never played an army that I've had Psychers in. I've played it safe. Black Templars, no Psychers. Imperial Fist, no Psychers. You know, because I don't want to have to worry about going, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to use this spell or this psychic power. I just want to shoot stuff from across the table.
A lot of the psychic powers in Grey Knights is pretty take it or leave it. If you want to play a close combat Grey Knight army that's fairly straightforward, but still a lot of fun, still easy to paint, you can do that, but you've left yourself a lot of growth to get into. You know, maybe that is the case, Stu, and whoever else had commented out there about that. I personally, I don't know. I have this awful suspicion. It's an awful suspicion that there's something deeper going wrong here.
But do you not think it? I mean, I think Justin might have hit it on the head in a way of almost simplifying or dialing back from the Codex group, actually, because they've done. And I think they've done a really good job with 6th edition, with the rulebook itself. It's quite comprehensive. Got loads of lovely special rules in there, and you can catch them. As soon as I was turning through there and I read the Zealot rule, I said, oh, chaplains are going to get that in future then, because clearly it's a rule that's designed to fit a skill set that quite a few units have in the game. So I think they've done such a good job with that. Maybe what we're doing is we're judging. Again, we talked about this. These new 6th edition codexes, so Chaos Space Marines and Dark Angels. And we're comparing them to the previous codexes which were written without this really lovely core set of rules and values
Well,
in it.
this is what I said in one of the previous ones.
Yeah, I want to talk about this because I want to address this directly, okay? Because people have said, why are you complaining when they're actually dialing it back and creating more balanced codexes? If Games Workshop genuinely cared about balance, they would release erratas for all those old codexes and just strip the stuff out of it and say, look, this is simple. If you're playing this in a tournament, you and your friends can agree to play it with errata or without errata. With errata, we consider it balanced against everything that we're going to do. Without errata, it's entirely up to you. Have whatever fun with it you want. If they cared about balance, they could go back and rebalance it. A 1 month project in there, and it could have been done.
Yeah, I don't think it's...
Wait, the other side of this is, when 5th edition launched, I vaguely remember Games Workshop putting out that there will not be another edition launched until every codex got an update.
Quite true.
Yeah.
Because we have that on video somewhere, if it hasn't been nuked off.
Because I finally went out and bought 5th edition Codex, the 5th edition rulebook, and then they launched the 6th edition.
Now, again, Workshop have pulled out of all tournaments. Workshop don't run tournaments; they only run fluffy tournaments now. Yeah. You know, I don't buy this balance thing. It seems to me more like a company that it has thought, we have parameters here. We could write these books and just do the games by sticking within the parameters. We'll not take too many chances, because whenever we take chances, those idiots on Beasts of War try and find cheese in it anyway.
So it's your fault.
Well, it could well be our fault.
Yeah, so what, you think they're just going to run out armies by numbers?
Well, but do you not think then, I mean, okay, two things there, very, very briefly, and I know we've talked about this an awful lot, but very, very briefly. So two things. Obviously, they put a lot of resource and effort into getting 6th edition how they want it to be.
Yes.
Okay? So it makes sense then that part of that process, and from a designing point of view, makes a lot of sense. You put a lot of effort into the foundations, which means that what you then build up on afterwards, you've already put the flexibilities that were into the core, so that actually you can just say, well, this is going to be option A, option R, and option Z in the book, because you've already put all that flexibility into your core rule sets. That's one thing. But the other thing is, looking at its resource. At the end of the day, Games Workshop is a company. The studio has to pay for itself in terms of whatever they produce, whatever they put the man hours on. That's what they have to show an end profit on. Okay,
yeah.
They can't So if they were to go back through all of the existing books and effectively rework them in a set of errata or what have you to meet the 6th edition, that is for, without being horrible now, but that is a load of effort on their part. It's probably more work than it would do to make up a new codex.
And it doesn't sell codex.
It won't sell them one more new codex, because all it's doing is it's appeasing all the pre-sale. It's like Ford or Toyota investing a load of money and things into making people that have already bought their cars feel a lot better. In fact, I think wasn't there a sketch in what's that film where Kevin Kline becomes the president and he talks about the
Meet Dave or something?
Dave, yeah.
Dave, sorry.
There's a thing in there where there's apparently some American initiative about making people that have already bought their American cars feel a lot better about the purchase they've made. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. And it's a similar kind of thing. So what we're almost expecting Games Workshop, the design studio, to spend a lot of money on making all the codexes we already own and make us go, oh, I feel a lot better about using this now.
It's not really about making you feel better about the codex you already own. It's making the codex run properly compared to the new armies.
But it does run properly, and one of the advantages is then going to be, because if they put too much, because what you'll notice as well is some of the newer codexes, it's almost like they apply the smudge filter on some of the stuff. So some of the stuff that was a bit kind of inconsistent or needed lots of extra WASI rules kind of just gets standardised down or kind of folded down into the existing stuff. So actually, if they did spend a lot of time on those older books, they'd almost have to start getting into all those weird and wonderful inconsistencies, whereas actually, if they just release a very general FAQ and errata, which is what they've done for 6th edition, and then just wait, as long as people can play games with them in that kind of very friendly tournament, but not really a tournament setting that GW is now quite a fan of, it's not like War Machine or Hordes or something like that, where actually the balance of the game, it is quite a competitive game in terms of the way it's structured. Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 are not particularly competitive games. If you're going to take them at a very competitive level now, with like big cash prizes, something like that, you need to have an awful lot of additional rules or additional bits to plug onto it, because you're absolutely right. The older codexes do kind of jar against this new style of codexes I think we're seeing. And I think that is in 2-3 years' time, when we've got maybe another 5 or 6 of these, maybe another 7 of these books under our belts, I think we will get a much clearer image of where Warhammer 40,000 is going and what Games Workshop's vision of how they want the game to play, and not just in rule sense, but actually how they want a player to approach the game.
Yeah.
And I do think that same happened with Warhammer. You will see a lot of the more competitive, the guys expecting the exciting, the interesting, the stuff that you can make lots of videos about taking advantage of this, that, and the other. I think a lot of that will probably start to get ironed out because they'll just keep referring you back to these core set of rules they gave in the rulebook. Yeah, it's just going to
be sitting there grey and bland and boring.
Well, you see, that's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
And that's the difficulty is, I can only put forward my opinion. Yeah. Andy, Darryl, Scott, Stu, everybody can only put forward their opinion. It's opinion.
I've got one.
Oh yeah,
Brian has an opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I like them. I've got to say, I like 6th edition.
Yeah, I like 6th edition too.
And I like everything that they put out. To be fair, I mean, I collect it. But at the end of the day, it's horses for courses. It's the game. It's what you like and what you don't like.
It's not hard to like.
Yeah.
I think that the point that I'm trying to make is, I feel something has changed. I just feel something has changed. It's almost like the book was done by a writer, not a game designer.
Yes.
Okay. I felt something changed. If it's going to change like that, that's fine. But when we're talking about codexes and stuff like that in an analysis during a themed week, we can't pretend that Grey Knights, Space Wolves, and all these other codexes don't exist.
No.
We just can't pretend that they're not there, because if you're going to be playing this against your mates, you're going to be playing that.
Yeah.
So I don't see the redeeming feature in it being balanced.
I know we want to move on, but very briefly, one thing that does also is worth mentioning, and the old codexes we had, Games Workshop was in a comfortable position where they had the freedom, the intellectual property freedom, to release a codex with loads of amazingly cool, weird, quirky units, and they didn't have to release models of them.
That's true.
For whatever reason now, and far be it from me to discuss anything that might be pending or any other kind of business decisions they've made there, but now when a codex comes out, everything pretty much is either designed and is released at the same time the codex comes out, or the models are made, it's on the release schedule. It's going to be on a way very soon.
Yeah.
And I think possibly that kind of dovetails back into what you're saying. It's almost like because they have to, whatever they put into the book, rather than saying, and when we get round to designing these figures, these are going to look spectacular. They almost have to go, okay, these are the resources we have from the physical, from the CAD teams, from the design studio. These are the resources we have, therefore, to write. So almost
the circumstances are now causing the tail to wag the dog.
Yes, what they can produce becomes what they can write about, rather than they write about.
I think that's probably it, and I think it's been like that for a long time. A bunch of model concepts are set down in front of a game designer or writer, as he might be. It's just set down in front of him, and it said, you make that sell. Yeah.
Would we, with Tyranids, go back to Tyranids, we have had the Tyrannofex and Tervigan, because they came a lot further down the design.
A lot later.
And the Harpy, well, we would have had the Harpy because we've now got flyers, but that aside, so the Tervigan and the Tyrannofex, I wager, we have no way of knowing, but I wager that we would not have seen those in the Codex if they had written it with the culture of now, because their big kit, their big monster kit they had was the Morlock and Trigon kit. So they wouldn't have been able to produce another massive kit right at that same time. So they would have put the Harpy in there. We would have had the Harpy by now because they would have had to have released everything pretty close together. But I reckon that Tyrannofex and stuff would have gone either to Forge World or it would never have seen the light of day.
But we're still waiting for stuff to be released for that Codex.
Yes. Some of the characters.
Yeah, Mycetic Spores.
Did Mycetic Spore ever come out?
No, never. No. But you see, that again.
It's funny because the Mycetic Spores now exist as independent products and stuff. I wonder, is that why?
But you may see next time they do the Tyranid Codex, you might see that come out. You might see that might not be in there.
But but the thing is,
we are quite a ways from seeing a new Tyranid Codex because it's not incredibly old. How old would it be now?
It's a strange system. It's like Elvis. I'm caught in a trap. It is a strange system. The times are changing.
Yes,
times are changing.
That we can all agree on.
Yeah,
times are changing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you have it. If you've that's what you're up against when you try to do a themed week on an army you love.
Passionate we all are, though. I mean, how long? I don't have no idea how long we've just been talking about.
I think we've been talking at least half an hour to 50 minutes.
Well, that's good though. That's
Sorry,
good.
guys. It was.
So
You know,
maybe
it shows
crying
the
during the
passion.
edit of this.
Shows
Yeah.
the passion
Yeah.
that
Don't-
even now, even with
Yeah.
a bland grey codex, shows the passion that it can still generate amongst us.
And don't mistake. Don't mistake that. Don't ever forget that whenever we're coming to this, we are passionate about this hobby.
Absolutely.
Passionate about every aspect of this hobby. Silly stuff we don't worry about so much. We don't slag stuff off for the sake of it. Yes, we have a few jokes. We have a laugh at some stuff. We look for innuendo. It breaks up the day. But we are passionate. It's a passionate crew that's been behind this, and long may we remain passionate.
Well,
Even when
one thing
workshop
that was said to
doesn't.
me whenever I first came to Beasts of War, the day
Careful
this stops
now.
being fun is the day you step out the door.
Well, yeah, I just had a dig a little bit, and it was very light-hearted. But I just had a bit of a dig at Daryl and Andy there. Even though they come from me, they come from, and Swampy as well. I'll talk about some of the people here. They come from a totally different page to me in terms of
of
approach
what
to the
you
game.
want the hobby to be.
But actually, in terms of love and passion for the game,
They
they're
enjoy it just as
exactly in the
much.
same place that we are. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. It is simply a case of there's horses for courses. We come at this from different angles. People. Beasts of War is not one entity. Beasts of War is lots of different individual people now, and it's growing. But it's lots of different individual people with their own opinions, their own ideas. But what binds them, apart from the One Ring, is my ring.
Yours is the most important one. Yeah.
Oh,
But
here we
what
go again.
binds them
Oh,
is
dear.
a passion for it. It's Daryl is a cheesy idiot of a guy. He's frustrating. But he is. You cannot deny the passion, the passion that they have for it. So.
And his violin playing, it brings tears to your eye.
Oh yeah.
People don't realise he is a world-class violinist.
Yes.
Is he really?
Stunning.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Stunning.
Yeah.
What?
Absolutely stunning.
I've never heard this.
Brings tears to your eyes listening to him.
Did you
Really
not
amazing.
offer to join his orchestra and play the pink oboe?
Oh dear.
Warren,
I
why?
heard it was the flesh flute.
Oh, guys, come on.
No. I think I'll find it was the
I'm
skin
sorry, do I need
flute.
to say this sounds like playing again?
Oh my good God, this has gone from PG to like 18 in a matter of seconds.
No, hang on. I'm already having to throw in at least half a dozen beeps to this
Yeah,
just
you
because
have to,
it,
yeah.
Well, that's all right. We don't have much in the way of overlays
Could you
today,
do one where
guys,
it's just
you
like a chicken noise when he says something? It just goes,
No, but I could play with the volume of it and give him a high little squeaky voice.
I like
know?
that.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
What else is there to talk about? I want to talk about Brian's channel for a while.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. That's what I'm here for. What's the big box?
Yeah, you've got some shout outs to make. Yeah.
Yes, I have. I've got to because they've sat there and gone, you better shout out for me.
Can I shout out too? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay.
go
Right,
ahead.
you go
Who's-
first.
who's first? No. I'll shout out to you.
Hazard syndrome.
What? Hazard syndrome.
Yeah.
Big thumbs up to you,
Kev Case.
Kev Case.
Yeah, fantastic guy. Tris Malone.
Love you.
Yeah. All Painter Nerd.
Love you too.
Girl Painting.
I know, girl,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah,
I
Alexandra.
miss you, Alexander. How are you?
She's fantastic. I love her work.
Yep.
Van Hammer is one of my favourites as well.
Certainly put me to shame as I have hordes of unpainted models. But
This is what I was
certainly-
saying the other day. There's not enough girls in this hobby, and not just because I'm trying to be rude or anything like that, or
Yeah.
just
No,
before anybody
it's not
says
nearly
anything.
It's absolutely true.
I'd like to see more girls in the hobby.
Yep, and I am on an active recruitment to start getting the first female talent through Beasts of War because it's time we started to hear
Warren's
from the
casting
other side of
couch.
it.
Uh-oh. There we go.
Who else? Let's keep shouting out here.
There's tons. I would like to thank all my subscribers because they're all fantastic.
Oh God, we'll be
and they're
here.
all
There's-
watching this
there's
as well.
5,500, 6,000 of them. We're going to be here a long time.
Gonna be- if we-
Can you just run them across the bottom of the screen?
I'd like
Yeah,
to
can we just do that?
I'd like to thank the subscribers of Beasts of War as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, from website, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are.
Yeah.
It's great to have you.
Austin. There's a guy called Austin Williams. Fantastic guy. He sent me £1,500 worth of Forge-World resin to play with. So I've still got to thank him for that.
My address is in the post.
There is one thing we've forgotten to do, lads.
What's that?
Well, we said last week, this week we're picking the winner for the What's in the Box.
Correct.
Now, we actually forgot to pick it before this, but what I can do is I will drop the name of the winner in the comments or in the post below.
Yeah, or bring it up on screen now.
No, because only I do it when it only comes up whenever I click.
How about if I do it? You have a go.
You just brought it down.
I'm going to pretend. Oh, I'm so happy they won. I saw their comment. I saw that. I thought, wicked.
Well done.
No,
well done.
Whoever
Well done,
it was that won, congratulations.
Yeah, we'll get it picked out
brilliant.
and we'll get it on its way to you.
Yeah, details of how to claim your prize will be
What if
in
they
the
won?
post below.
Yep.
What did they win?
The Judicator.
Adjudicator.
They know they've got to come down here though to pick it up, right?
What's an adjudicator?
Oh, okay, well,
It's a
it
colossal.
judges?
It's a colossal.
Oh, right.
yeah, it's the Menite Colossal.
Oh, nice.
What's
nice.
adjudicator?
Well, I was just about to say, is it someone that just judges
he walks
stuff?
in today, looked at the conquest sitting on my desk and goes, I love that. That's really nice.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah,
we need to get you playing War Machine, my friend.
No, I
Yeah.
don't. Anybody that knows me, I only play 40k, but I don't play 40k. I play.
Forge World.
I play Forge World only. Horus Heresy. That's the only thing I play.
Well, now that brings us to your channel.
Yes.
And the kind of stuff. If you haven't seen
let's-
Templar
let's all
Crusade,
touch
channel.
channels. Oh,
If you
yes,
haven't
yes.
seen his
Oh,
channel,
an awful funny job there. Ha ha.
head on over because he has more Forge World than Forge World.
I do at the moment, to be fair.
And you do tutorials
Yeah.
on all kinds of. Run us
Yeah.
through some of the ones that you
I like to do painting tutorials. I like to model making techniques, all sort of weathering powders and playing with that sort of stuff, which is always really good because I like, as I said before, I'm a strong believer in what you give. What you take, from the community, you should give back to the community. So,
Hear.
and I kind of like that. You learn quite a bit, and that's why I think YouTube has been really exciting for me because I've learned a hell of a lot from other people. Yeah, that's what basically my philosophy is for my channel is model making and painting, mostly Forge World, pre-heresy, and
Fantastic.
You have
all
a
that
bunch
sort
of
stuff.
Titans and stuff like that as well, don't
I've got
you?
loads of Titans. I love my babies. I love them more than my children. Or child, I should say. If I've got any other children out there, I know nothing
He
about
loves
it.
you too.
Wow, it's one of those shows. Polygraph comes out.
yeah, exactly.
It's funny you should say that because
I
our
think
special
Warren's about
guest.
to turn into Jeremy Kyle.
Oh, no, he found me. He can't prove I'm his dad.
Now the other thing is you're running. We've talked about pre-heresy.
Yep.
Okay. We have a couple of massive pre-heresy events
Yeah.
coming up.
We do.
Fill us in, Stu.
Yeah, don't literally fill us in.
Well,
just tell us about it.
Okay. Well, we've got loads of events, so I'll go backwards. I'll start
Okay.
with. So in March, I'll get the exact date. March the 16th and 17th. Here at Tabletop Nation, we're running the Betrayal Weekend, which is the Horus Heresy, dealing with the Isfahan Drop Site Massacre. Oh, sorry, not the Drop Site Massacre, sorry. The Cleansing of Isfahan 3. So it's the Death Guard, World Eaters, Sons of Horus, and Emperor's Children. And it's how the Horus has revealed his treachery and he's purging his ranks.
Oh, this is when the virus comes down.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
starts
new
to-
thing.
Loken disappears, has his duel with Abaddon.
Yeah.
So it's all that, but it's also so it's all the stuff that's covered in the Forge World book Betrayal, and that's what we'll be using for the weekend. It also, though, deals with what were the Imperial Fists doing Fortifying Terror, but what were some of the companies of Imperial Fists doing at that time? What were the Space Wolves doing? What were the White Scars doing? What were the Alpha Legion doing? And all these other forces, because bear in mind, the Great Crusade was still grinding on through the galaxy. It was only on Isfahan that stuff was starting to become the heresy.
Yeah, Horus had gathered all the traitor legions to him and got rid of
Exactly.
And that's getting rid of all the traitors, all
Yes,
the traitors
all the members of his own legion
to his
who wouldn't
legions.
convert.
So all the imperial.
Meanwhile,
forces.
Imperial Fist Construction Company,
busy building the
defences of distinction.
Dawn has a little tear going down as he's putting up armour plates over all this gorgeous artifice.
which is beautiful.
But yes, so the weekend is going to be
This construction company.
dealing with the
We
dealing
do
with the
payments.
heresy. Yellow hard hats.
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly. Yeah, of course. Yeah, like that.
So anyway, so it's dealing with the end of the Crusade and the beginning of the heresy. It's capturing that moment. So what we're going to be using the Forge World book, and we've also got some additional rules so that if you want to do if you want to have Rogel Dawn or Jagati Khan or any of the other Primarchs or special rules for any of the other legions, there's some guidelines and some extra rules in with the event to help you really form your legions in. But it's going to primarily be using a lot of the stuff that you're seeing in the Forge World books. We're going to talk about Lords of War. We're talking about how the companies are constructed. You've got like Breacher Siege squads. You've got Seeker squads. All the stuff that those of you who has the Forge World books are going to be very familiar with. And once the games are underway for that weekend, it is literally like they're going to be ripped from the pages of the Black Library books. It's going to be a really fantastic weekend. You have loads of destroyed terrain for you to fight amongst. It's also a great opportunity for people that might be... One of the criticisms people have of the Horus Heresy stuff is that it's basically... It's like a for power armor. It's a lot of marine love. And you look at orcs, the Eldar, and any of the other races that would have been around at that time, and they're sort of thinking, well, okay, that's great, but what are we doing? It's not for me.
Sorry, wait, just one second. I've heard of Mark IV power armor, but I haven't heard of power armor.
Oh, you've not got that one yet?
No.
That's brilliant.
No.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. All right, okay.
Protects your codpiece, everything.
It's only it's only very, very small on most legions, other than the Emperor's Children.
Right,
yeah,
massive.
I don't think DW have ever properly covered that.
I think you find they have.
On the Emperor's Children, it sounds like it was difficult to cover, wasn't it?
They couldn't cover it up, but it's there. It's there. It's in the documents.
But yeah, so it's the rules for all of the... so there'll be some guidelines for how to play with those alien races. Because you look, again, the Black Library books, which are really fantastic.
Well, yeah, but that's what I like about the Horus Heresy. I feel like I'm in a football show and I'm just like, we're just talking about a play. Yeah, that was a fantastic play. But what I like about the Horus Heresy is that, he threw that goal really far. No, that's not even football, is it? Right, it's American football.
Physically threw the goal.
He threw it into the goal.
Okay, this sounds like a Space Marine on a football pitch. Wait, there's an orc up there. Ha ha!
So basically, what I like about them is that it is just about Space Marine versus Space Marine, because it's the beginning of the Chaos armies and stuff like that, the traitor legions. I'm not, and the nice thing about it is in the books, only every now and then you get something about the Eldar where they come along and go, look, by the way, this is going to happen if you don't deal with it. And they go, whatever. And then they just take them out. But it's nice. I really love the whole betrayal thing, the whole, hello, mate, how you doing? Yeah, that sort of stuff. When they go around killing each other and stuff. And let's take them to the planet. Hey, guys, let's send you lot down there. We're going to wait here for a bit. Then we're going to virus bomb the entire planet sort of thing.
I agree with you. But all I would say is that I think that is almost the payoff. The betrayal is the payoff. And I think if you don't really explore the Great Crusade, if you don't really get, without the alien races, without the perceived threat to humanity or humanity reclaiming its birthright, there would have been no Great Crusade, there would have been no legions, there would have been no betrayal, because none of that stuff would have existed.
No, exactly.
The Emperor just would have looked at space, gone, nothing out there, boys.
Nothing out there.
Ours.
We're all alone.
Here's a flag. There we go.
Done. Hang on. Yeah, it's ours now.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah,
but one of the first alien races, I think it was in Horus Rising, it was a kind of like an insectoid type race.
Yeah, the mega arachnids.
Yeah. Mega arachnids.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the one.
On their bottle ships.
At one of these events, would it be possible to bring
we did not long ago. We did I'll jump in just quickly because I know you're going to bring them in. But we've been playing like the Great Crusade for 2 years, and we finished it now. We've moved on to the Horus Heresy, and in that we played against the mega arachnids, and we did Planet Murder. And,
what models did you use for the mega arachnids?
I did a conversion of tons of Necron bits and pieces mixed with spider parts. Yeah. So we had all these big pieces made, and we had tiny little goblin spiders. You know the goblin spider riders? So we had those, and we painted them all up in colours that we thought, that would match from the book and stuff like that. And we just used those as our forces. So it was brilliant. Absolutely terrorised what they should have done. They went around ripping all the Marines to pieces and stuff like that.
Blood angels mostly.
Yeah, mostly blood angels. And we had ones flying down, because we created ones that could fly down, grab the Marine, take them off, sort of thing, and stick them up on trees and stuff.
Have we reached a stage where, as adults, we'd rather play Warhammer 30k as opposed to Warhammer 40k?
Yes, definitely.
I think the 41st... The only sad thing I have is I really love the Tau, and I really love the Necrons, and I really love the Tyranids, and unless you're a little bit
loose.
No.
You just say it's an
Yeah.
isolated world with some things are happening.
Well, no, but they said the Necrons. If you read the new
Now-
Necron book,
now they
they're
say.
in there, sort of thing. So we've brought Necrons into one of our
as-
games. We
as
did a
have we,
Necron
yeah.
thing, but the thing is that you're saying you're right. You can do what you like with it. This is, if you want to bring in a planet where there's Tyranids in there, why not?
Well, I mean, like, there's a Caiaphas Cain novel that shows they would have been there around that time.
Yeah, I mean the Tyranids are extragalactic, and who's to say if I think it would be in the background they talk about all these various evidence of things. I think there's some acid burns on an Emperor Titan that is from the Great Crusade, and the acid burns match some of the Tyranid bioacid. So there's nothing to say a couple of hive ships didn't get through it.
Yeah.
Your game represents effectively. I mean, even if you've got like 100,000 points of Tyranids versus 100,000 points of Lunar Wolves.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of the Great Crusade, that is not even a footnote on a page of all the battles that were fought at that time and forgotten just as easily.
And plus, you can always double them up as the layers or something like that. So you exactly. And there's the Harad. We did a huge campaign against the Harad, and they're brilliant. But the original drawings for them, they look like rats, didn't they?
Skaven,
Skaven, that's right. Yeah. But so you can do what you like.
Yes.
It's open to your own ideas and concepts of how they should look and stuff like that. So you can do lots of modelling, tons of modelling, and plus you get the benefits of using all the Forge World stuff.
So Betrayal, this event is about the Great Crusade. Oh no, this is about Isfahan. This is the Betrayal.
Yeah. So it's basically it's a Forge World book plus. So it's for people that want to play through the scenarios and use the 4 legions in the Forge World book, which is what the Forge World book is designed for. It's designed for. I know there are people out there that are saying, "Oh, I'm going to use that book and just use that book to do my Blood Angels Cygnus Prime or something like that." The book itself isn't really designed for that because it's designed to represent those 4 legions at that exact moment in the timeline, pretty much to play in those missions at that point. Yeah.
So it's quite a tight focus there. That book.
Because that's the way that and Forge World are going to do. I'm confident they're going to do a great series of books. So the next one I believe is called Massacre, or it's probably going to be called Massacre, and that will deal with the Isfahan drop site massacre, and that will have the 4 legions, or it will cover 4 legions again.
And then all the bad guys.
Yeah, very tight, very tight focus on those time periods. What we're trying to do is we're saying if that's what you want, we're going to make sure absolutely that you're going to be able to do that in the event, but also for others of you that want to come down with all your orcs or your Dark Eldar, your Eldar.
There's other bits going on throughout the galaxy.
Because there really would
time.
have been other bits.
Yeah.
It's putting the book into context with actually what would have been happening elsewhere. It's like playing Stalingrad and pretending that there wasn't the rest of the Second World War raging on around it at the same time.
There wasn't, was it?
Yeah, okay. So it's putting it into context, and that's what the weekend's going to be doing. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you don't need to have 6,000-7,000 points. Yeah, it's relatively smallish games, 2,000 to 3,000 points games that you're going to be playing. If you really want to, there's going to be the scope. If you're crazy like Brian, you've got like 50 Reavers sitting in your back.
My babies.
Yeah, absolutely. You can bring your babies down, and we'll do some organised games and some bigger stuff if you want to. But it's really if you've ever had if you've got some of the Forge World stuff, or if you've made up your own stuff, because there was a lot of third-party kits going about where you're making your own pre-heresy stuff. I'm talking going back a few years now. Some people have been doing pre-heresy gaming like Brian for years. Yeah, before some people are just getting into it with the Forge World book. Both kinds of people come down for the weekend. You can have a great time. That's
perfect.
The plan.
Yeah.
We have another heresy type event then that Brian is involved in.
Yeah, this is actually 2 different events. But the nice thing about it is that hopefully he's going to come in and help me and save us.
Maybe.
It's going to have to be like cups of tea and biscuits, I think, and a
And
cuddle.
when's this one?
How dedicated are you?
Well, there's going to be a cuddle.
When's this event taking place? It's October?
This is October, and it's round about my birthday, which is quite nice. So I don't know when I've booked it for, because we've still got to go through it all. But
it will be in October. Details to be published.
Yeah. But for that, we're doing the Siege of Terror, which is the one that I've always wanted to do. And that's basically, it's finishing off our campaign.
And the Imperial Fists will actually get a look at it.
At last, I get to actually play. So I actually get in the campaign right at the end. And I've been busy painting tons of Imperial Fist. I've been busy building stuff. I've got...
As were they.
Yeah, as they... Yeah. So to form, I'm building Terror. I'm building a load of gaming boards for the main group. and the idea is that we're going to open it up to the public as well,
so people can come in and watch.
So they can actually play different sections of the Siege of Terror on different tables and stuff like that. And that's the important thing, because we just like to finish it off with a big bang.
Yeah, it's to make sure that your guys get, quite rightly, it's like the crowning, the thing that you guys have been building up to the whole time. But at the same time, because we will have run Betrayal in March, there's all that extra Forge World stuff, and if you're going to want to do the Siege of Terror, there's like a whole bunch of legions that at the moment won't have any rules. So there's conversations to be had where we promise you that by the time we get to October, your guys are going to be absolutely blown away by it, because it's going to be a fantastic weekend. But for others who want to get involved, I'd imagine we'd have to do Mars, we'll have to do the breaking of Mars, the liberation, because that would have been at the same time. People wanted weird Mechanicum armies. I'm sure we can sort that out.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them out there.
So there's loads of stuff. There's loads of mileage, loads of other stuff we can do, so that people aren't feeling like they're like second. So it's basically it's just your guys, and everybody else is just kind of like with the older pom poms cheering on the sidelines.
That'd be nice, pom poms.
Yeah, we could do that.
And I may even wear for this my yellow onesie. Okay, just for this.
Well, and if you keep working out, you're going to look like an Imperial fist.
Yeah, look like a giant space marine. We have all talked about wearing onesies for this.
All right, okay.
Members of the public, not part of Brian's.
No, you lot have got to wear as well.
Cult or whatever it is that he's got going on.
It's a friendly group of guys. It's not a group. It's a friendly kind of guys that just like to hang out and
wear onesies.
No, we're not going to wear onesies, but I'm going to.
Well, final announcements. Have you any more events?
We have.
Okay. I'll just quickly rattle through them. Thank you for those of you, for the 3 guys that have actually watched this video the way through to the end. Thank you very much for your continued patience.
If you fast forward it now, there's a bit about. You want to bleep this out?
What horrible thing you think?
No, I'm not going to say anything at all. So something about a big yellow ball, and there was some this in there, and some of that as well, and just bleep it.
Just bleep all of that.
It's just going to be beep.
Moving very, very swiftly on.
Or put a big black square there as well. Me doing that.
Could you hold him down, maybe? Right.
Might have to.
So, very, 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 very briefly, I want to talk about some very, very exciting stuff coming up here.
How exciting!
On a scale of 1 to 10,
it better be 11.
Turned up to 11, my friend. Yeah. So, Dreadball. Total different change of. Can you have a different change? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a change of subject. So, Dreadball. We talked about this previously, and we've got in 2 weekenders ago, we kind of vaguely made allusion to this huge thing we couldn't talk about. We could talk about it now. Very, very briefly, this is the start. Dreadball players out there, people thinking about getting into Dreadball, now is the time to start to get a little bit excited, because we are very, very pleased to announce, and there'll be official stuff going on the site, but you're going to hear it first at the weekender, there is a official Dreadball Super Bowl is going to be happening this year, okay? And we're not talking like dusty little church halls and stuff. This is high-level gaming events that we've got going on. We're going to have a series of regional heats all the way across the United Kingdom and Ireland as well. And we're going to culminate in a Super Bowl in November. So the Super Bowl itself, okay, is going to be on the 9th and 10th of November. And that'll be here at Tabletop Nation. Then starting off the regional heats, 8th of June at Firestorm Games in Wales. They're going to start the first regional heat within the UK. We're then going to follow it up in the 15th of June at the Northwest Gaming Centre. Okay, they're going to have the next one. Then on the 16th of June at the Gathering at is it Tolman Park? Where's the home of Irish football?
Crow Park.
No. Could be. Anyway, at the Gathering is they're doing the next regional heat. It's quite exciting because they're potentially, whether holding off, they're going to be playing on the pitch itself, on tables and things. So it could actually be in a proper sports stadium. So that could be a really, really cool regional heat. On the 22nd of June.
Well, they're in Ireland.
It's going to rain.
Bring an umbrella.
On the 22nd of June, the regional heat for the South is going to be here at Tabletop Nation. And then finally, last but no means least, on the 13th of July, Bonnie Scotland with Highlander are going to be doing their regional heat. So we've got a whole bunch of regional heats. basically you've got Scotland, Ireland, you've got Northern Ireland, which is still to be announced, and we'll confirm the details later. Wales, and then North and South England. So a load of regional heats. The winners of those heats, the top few seats, the winners of those heats are going to get free admission into the Super Bowl. For those of you that either didn't quite make the cut or couldn't make your regional heat, you should still be able to grab some tickets for the Super Bowl and get yourself along. It's going to be really, really, really great.
9th and 10th of November.
9th and 10th of November here.
Excellent.
So yeah,
looking forward
really,
to
really great regional heat.
Hopefully that'll give me time to get my own Dreadball team up and running.
Well, the exciting thing is Mantic have got a whole host of stuff coming up between now and then. There are more teams on the way.
Yeah.
There's more of their MVPs on the way. We had James down, didn't you, for some stuff beforehand. So there's some really, really great things. I think we've got Ronnie coming along later on between now and then to have a bit of a chat with us.
Yep.
Sure.
So it should be, I'd say, this year, if you're a Dreadball fan, this year is going to be the year to really, really get that hobby kicked off properly. It's going to be very exciting. Briefly, just two other ones to talk about. Two other weekends to talk about. Infinity fans, 2nd of February here at Tabletop Nation, we have an Infinity tournament, which is proper's the wrong word. It's one of the official ITS tournaments, so it's going to be using the ITS rule system, which you get on the Infinity website, and the winners are going to be getting these lovely official Infinity glass trophies. So again, really good event. And then finally, the other weekend, just to briefly talk about, 16th and 17th of February. 16th of February, our good friends Vesperon are going to be bringing Carnivale to Tabletop Nation. If you haven't had a look at Carnivale before, recommend you do.
We have a themed week sitting on the website.
You should check out Carnivale on PC4. We had a whole week dedicated to it. It's well worth it.
Yeah, it's a really nice cinematic game.
Yeah, but it's all about little guilds and gangs in...
it's very Machiavellian.
In Venice, absolutely. Stabbing each other up, dumping bodies in canals, that kind of thing.
Love it.
Really, really cool.
Good weekend.
Fishmen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Fishmen, and any game with fishmen in it.
Can't go wrong.
Warhammer Studio, take note. More fishmen.
More
fishmen.
That's what the world lacks.
We actually had Roman do some design sketches for a fishman army. They had a fish tank.
Fish tank.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Anyway, and the other one.
Do you pay him?
The other one on that weekend, moving swiftly on. So that was the 16th of February.
Pay him.
17th of February is Malifaux. We're doing Lost Love, which is going to be it's a day of encounters. So if you haven't played Malifaux before, or you're just getting started with Malifaux and you want to get yourself more into what the game's about, I guarantee you come down for this day of encounters, by the end of it, your understanding of Malifaux, your comfort with Malifaux, maybe your uncomfort with Malifaux, is going to be massively increased. Really, really good way. I recommend this anyway. If you've ever started playing a game, but you're kind of pretty good with the rules, but you're not great with the rules, don't be put off by tournaments and things. As long as, have a word with the organisers beforehand if you're feeling a little bit nervous, a little bit unsure. But as long as there's some decent people running it and they're going to going in for it. War Machine, I'll give you an example. I was ropey at War Machine. I'm still pretty ropey, but my understanding of how to play War Machine, after playing a gaming weekend of War Machine, where I effectively forced myself 6 games against all different types of opponents, different ability levels. By the end of it, I felt I had won. I obviously didn't win. I got an utter kicking for 6 rounds, but I felt that I came away and I had a really clear understanding about the game. And so if you do get the opportunity to do these events, this Malifaux one would be a perfect one if you're looking to get into Malifaux. The Carnivale one would be a great one if you're looking to get into Carnivale. Get stuck in. What have you got to lose? You're probably going to lose most of your games. Well, you know what? You're probably going to lose most of your first few games anyway. So why not do it in a setting where you'll be playing against people you might never meet them again, so it's not like you're going to get shamed every time you go out in public, and have a laugh. And you never know, you could make some really good friends, some gaming friends in those settings, in those systems. Keep in contact with them.
The beauty of those two systems as well, Carnivale and Malifaux, is that losing is winning. Because it's the systems are designed to be cinematic and stuff like that there. So losing is part of it. You're not really losing; you're just enjoying a great game. yeah, there's winners and losers, but there's not really, because those games are very, very epic in that sense, very cinematic. So you might lose the overall game, but you've done some amazingly cool things during the game that you're talking about and enjoying.
And the other beautiful thing about those games, which I love, is they're miniatures light.
Yes.
Literally, you're not going to have a gigantic army case.
Half a dozen miniatures, and you are in.
Yes.
You are ready.
Yes.
Could I just say something, just quickly? We forgot about the convention.
Oh, no, we haven't. We're coming to that next. No, we haven't. Right, Brian, go ahead. In conjunction
with
Beasts of War.
Tabletop Nation.
and Templars Crusade 01.
Yep.
Which is Grumpy Old Wargamers, because that's a little thing we have on our channel. We're going to be doing a convention, which I've been talking about on my channel for quite a while, that I've wanted to do it, and I said when I come down here, I'd talk to the guys, we'd arrange a date. So we've booked a date for it.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to say what the date is? Can you remember?
It's an absolute secret. It's 1st and 2nd of June.
So it's a 2-day event.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. And with the combined powers of these superheroes, we're going to come up with something amazing. And obviously, yeah, I don't know who we're talking about. But what we're going to do is we'll let you know when it's going to happen. Obviously, we've done that. And we're going to also talk about later on what's going to be happening within
We'll
that
start
event.
doing a whole series of updates now, because there's a lot to organise, there's a lot to do.
very
The
little
date
time.
might change. It might change,
We
hopefully
still
not.
need to find a name.
Yeah, we
we're
still need to
looking for a
book
name. So it's this convention is kind of more hobby focused, Brian. That's
yes,
what we're
it
going
is, yeah,
for.
yeah.
It's going to be about painting and modelling and
Meet
and
YouTubers.
all that good stuff. You get to
Yeah.
meet a whole bunch of YouTubers, all invited down, and to tell
Play
you
some
about their
exciting
experience
games.
of
Play some
YouTube.
very exciting games.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we are looking for a name, and do you know what? Let's put that out.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Let's put that out.
Let's give a prize as well.
You guys, what will we give away?
Yes, right. You can give a prize.
I'll give a prize.
1,500 quid worth of Forge World.
No, I'm keeping that. Well, let's not get out of hand here. I was thinking about a £5.
What about 2 tickets to the event, so you and a mate can go down to it?
I think, yeah, 2 tickets to the event and a free dinner.
And a free dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have
Alright.
dinner with us on the night.
Yeah.
So
That would be cool.
They know
So-
we just eat
That's a great prize,
sandwiches
guys.
from
Yeah, we
Sainsbury's,
just eat
right?
sandwiches. Yeah.
So, post below a name for a convention, okay? And that's we'll pick the best.
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll come up with a very snazzy prize.
And we'll come up with a prize.
Yeah, we will.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come up with a very
Do,
snazzy
do, do
prize.
some research though, please, in
Yeah.
the sense that so you can't put like
Gen Con.
Games Day or Gen Con. But similarly,
Or Jenny Con would be nice. Yeah.
but similarly, if you went for like Hobby Con, there is a Hobby Con in Malaysia,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Hobby Con UK, that might be okay. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing we're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. And we plan to do this, hopefully, if it all goes well, do it every year.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Let's get the first one out of the way.
Yeah, let's get the first one out of the way, please.
I can see him tensing up with the organisation
Seriously,
of it all.
You just did the
something
budget
just
One
went.
thing at a time, Brian. Yeah.
Something just went. Okay.
Anyway, guys, that's been horrendous. That's been quite the show. I've loved having you around.
thank you a lot for- yeah, it's
this
been
is
brilliant.
just the first of the collaborations
Yeah,
that we're going to be
yeah,
getting
we do,
involved
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Stay tuned as we explore a lot of stuff with Brian.
Oh dear.
We're
enough last night?
we're looking forward to it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Any suggestions, comments, ideas, anything at all, get it in the comments below, because we love reading it, love participating in it. We can have a good laugh.
Yeah.
Thank you for the patience. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.